Welcome, dear listeners. I'm Jonathan Carlin.
And I'm Benjamin Carlin.
And we invite you to join us through the Griffin door, your one-way ticket to the enchanting world of Harry Potter. So grab your wands and dust off your broomsticks and join us as we unlock the riddles inside Goblet of Fire, Chapter 24, Rita, Skeeter, Scoop.
All right. I feel like you had like a little bit extra joy in your voice today.
I mean, it's always a good day when we're recording Gryffindor, Ben.
It's always a good time. It's always a good time. And Rita, Skeeter, Scoop. Here's an interesting chapter, I think. It feels a little bit. It can maybe vaguely remind me of like Malfoy's whole like gotta. What am I trying to go for here? Literature architecture. That's what I'm going for.
Literature architecture.
Architecture.
Like architecture of the story itself.
Architecture of the story itself. It's like you have now gone effectively from what? You've got the first task, the unexpected task, the Yule Ball, and then it's like you almost, for the sake of it, can't have the next chapter be
something too exciting.
The second task.
Right. Yeah. Like, it's like there needs to be like a little dip in the action here.
That's exactly.
While we catch up with everyone.
That's exactly it. And it's like, I think that as time has gone on, like, you know, we talked a lot about in Prisoner of Azkaban, how like Draco's, the whole point of him and really all he's doing, the whole book is just complaining about his injury with Buckbeak and everything to do with hippogriffs. And it's like, he's not really doing anything to the point where it's like almost non-believable.
Right.
And so I think that this is actually like good literary architecture because what we're going to get in this chapter is more building on the case against Rita Skeeter. We get to touch on some of those like peripheral characters who I feel like we haven't seen for just like a second, like with Ludo Bagman. We get more Barty Crouch. We get a little bit of Bertha Jorkins, brought back to the equation. So it's like we're taking a minute to catch our breath after a lot of like really action-packed stuff happens. And it's almost like we're taking integral pieces of the story and kind of bringing them back to your attention.
Exactly. And at the same time, offering you some big foreshadowing, literally in the form of the giants who will start showing up in the next book.
Yep.
And you get to learn a little bit about Hagrid's backstory. So it's like, it's a good, just like, okay. I know we're like most of the way or like over halfway through the fourth book now, but there is still some world building to be done.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because it even reminds me a little bit of like a typical television TV show, like Slate, where usually what you have happen right around like the holidays, like December era is going to be the end of the first half of the season. And you'll have like a mid-season finale.
Yeah.
And so I feel like mid-season finale with this one was probably the Yule Ball.
Exactly.
And now we're kind of like picking back up and it's like, okay, let's lay some more groundwork for more plot to come.
Right. Yeah, we got to relay the groundwork. Here's where everyone is. Here's where you should be why you should be suspicious of everyone. Here's why you should like Rita Skeeter is terrible.
Yep. The other thing that we're going to get in this chapter is lots of really good like little bits of trivia, so I'll be sure to point those out.
Oh, there's so many.
Yes. As we go, Bladvac, yeah, which is going to mean pickaxe and gobbledygook. Gobbledygook. I'm sorry. Yeah, good save there on the pronunciation. Okay, so chapter art, as per always, we've got to take a quick gander at that. And here what we're getting is a photograph of a young Hagrid with his kind of smaller statured father sitting on his shoulder.
He's sitting on his shoulder, but like the way his leg is drawn, I always feel like it just makes it look like Hagrid's dad is standing behind him rather than sitting on his shoulder.
It does, yeah, because in the photo, Hagrid is wearing overalls and one of the pant legs it almost looks very much just like the other strap.
It does.
Of his overalls, but it's actually his father's like legs.
Yes, and it does not help that then on the other side, Hagrid's holding like a broom or something in his hand, which makes it look like the overalls have like a double layer to them.
Yeah.
Which then on the reverse side, it's his leg, but it looks like, oh, these are just like weird overalls.
Exactly. This depiction is always a bit odd for me, and it could just be because like it's hard to imagine Hagrid as like the young boy that he obviously once was.
Yeah.
Because, like we just know him as this like big, hairy, grizzly, long beard, long hair, kind of like rough and tough man, at least from an aesthetic standpoint. And this is just sort of like a very like boyish face.
Yeah.
But the scale, I think, is still, I'm like, I feel like the scale is still a little radical per this depiction.
Right.
Like his dad looks like real small relative to.
I know, because he's not his full height yet. He's like, what, I don't know, 7 or 8 feet here, maybe.
Yeah, I think he's like 11. So, like if you were to imagine like your height as a 6th grader relative to your height as like a full grown human, it's like, think about that percentile difference.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like you're probably like 60 to 70% of the way there or something.
Right. Yes.
I don't know. I guess he's so wide too. That's the other thing. It's not just that he's tall. He's also really wide.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, it's kind of interesting. And I mean, honestly, it's the kind of thing that I feel like if we were never given Hagrid's backstory at all, it's the kind of thing that fans would be like, where did Hagrid come from? Like, tell us the story. And then you get the story and you're like, it's complicated to imagine. It is.
It is, right?
Bit,
yeah.
But I'm still glad we have it.
Absolutely.
More information about one of my favorite characters. So anyway, will you want to kick off with our usual?
Absolutely. All right. So this chapter starts off. Everybody got up late on Boxing Day, and then the dragons arrived. Everyone's having a bit of a lie-in. Oh no,
dragons! Oh, what an absolutely what a terrible way to kick off December 26th.
I know, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh boy.
The Gryffindor common room was much quieter than it had been lately. Many yawns punctuating the lazy conversations, because of course you got to remember that everybody is now waking up from what was otherwise a rather late night per Hogwarts standards.
The dance went to midnight.
Yeah. So everybody's a little. They got the eepies for sure.
Oh, and I mean, if I know anything about school dances, is that like the end of the dance is not really like the end of the night.
That's the thing. Yeah. I mean, you've got to imagine that there's like some brand new romances that sort of blossomed from this particular occasion that, took it back to the common rooms where, further discussion probably was
discussion,
had.
Where's the after Yule party?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Imagine the Oscars and then make it wizardy.
And then where's the after Yule party,
I'm asleep by that point.
Exactly.
For sure.
I know. Yeah. Some people are like, we got to keep it going. We're heading back to the burrow. We're getting out of here entirely.
we're leaving.
We're leaving. Yeah.
Yes. Dad's got a garage full of Muggle stuff.
Exactly.
Want to go see it?
You want to go see? Yeah. It's going to be amazing.
There's a flying Ford Anglia in the forest somewhere. It's ours.
Yeah. We're going to go find it. We're going forward hunting.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then we get the line that I think we alluded to in last chapter about Hermione, but it says Hermione's hair was bushy again. She confessed to Harry that she had used liberal amounts of Sleek Easy's hair potion on it for the ball.
Yep.
It's just kind of funny because this is literally where like Harry's own wealth came from, is the Sleek Easy hair potion.
I don't even think he's aware of it.
It does not seem to register to him at all, which I am surprised by, because like Harry's disheveled hair is like an active characteristic of his appearance.
I know, yeah.
Like, and we know he has all this money, and Sleek Easy's has been introduced into the equation. So it's like, I don't know if like retroactively the decision was sort of like, what would be kind of like a funny thing for him? It's like,
I think that's exactly what happened, or like just no one ever tells him why he has money, or like, but that seems like someone would have.
It seems like somebody would like, the Potters prior to being who they were, at the fall of the Dark Lord, that's probably what they were known for.
I know. It's like, I imagine if Harry goes down to Gringotts with Hagrid on that first time and he opens the vault and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's like
what did my parents do?
Right,
exactly.
right.
I feel like that'd be the first thing. Like what were their, he's never asked what were their jobs.
What were their jobs, yeah.
Yeah, what'd they do? How'd they make so much money? Yeah, that has not been a consideration of his. He's just like, I've just got it. So,
well, I mean, of course, then the other really funny thing about the Sleek Easy's hair potion is that like it does hail back to that line from Lockhart where he's like, rid the world of evil and design my own a set of hair care products or whatever.
Right. It's like Harry's already done both of those things.
Exactly. So anyway, at least someone's living Lockhart's dream, even if it's not Lockhart.
Exactly. And then I love the whole like Ron and Hermione dynamic here. It says Ron and Hermione seem to have reached an unspoken agreement not to discuss their argument, which is like, it's such a thing that you do. It's like you have this big fight, but then it's like you can't keep fighting and you are forced to still be around each other. So it's just sort of like, we're just gonna have to let it go. But I also feel like it really works. It says they're being quite friendly to each other, though oddly formal. And it's like, because underneath it all, even though they were fighting, what they actually said to each other, when they both sort of, I feel like like a few hours later can reflect upon, it's like, what they actually said to each other was, I like you.
Right. Exactly. Yes. It's like, ask me to the ball before someone else does, and not as a last resort.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like what Hermione is basically saying is like, I would have gone with you.
I would have gone with you.
Like, you understand that, right? Like,
right.
But yeah, so you're absolutely right. I think that's well phrased. It's good. It's good observation of how people do behave in real life as well. I think this is like something that is relatable. Let's see here. Hermione then is getting filled in on everything that happened, because this of course is the other thing, is that like on numerous occasions, I feel like Ron and Hermione fighting is like a good way to like almost allow for a little bit like less complicated storytelling.
Yeah.
That's necessary because it's like one more person you just don't have to like include in everything. So it's sort of like, okay, now I can just have like Harry and Hermione go practice summoning spells. That'll be fine. Yeah, that'll be good. And then Ron he's elsewhere.
Right.
But now is like one of those occasions where there's very important lore that Harry and Ron have learned at the Yule Ball that they obviously want to fill Hermione in on. And that is, of course, the news that Hagrid is a half giant, to which she doesn't find all of that shocking at all.
Yeah. I mean, she sort of like, well, I thought he must be, she said, shrugging. I knew he couldn't be pure giant because they're about 20 feet tall. So that's just like good, like laying the groundwork for when we will meet some of the giants in the next book.
That's right. Yes.
Right there. But then she says, but honestly, all this hysteria about giants, that can't be all horrible. It's the same sort of prejudice people have toward werewolves. It's just bigotry, isn't it? And it's like, I guess she's right. But they are pretty aggressive. And when she meets Grop, she is not very excited about it.
Yeah. I think that she's maybe got like a little bit of like a I don't know how to best describe it here, but textbook response to it versus like the real world response to it.
Right.
Maybe. Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. I mean, we've seen it because this is a thing. Like bigotry inside of the wizarding world is a huge problem in every direction. I mean, obviously like Lupin is a completely great person who's going to take all the necessary steps to ensure that he's not around somebody during the full moon. And there exists the Wolfsbane potion, and there's all sorts of stuff you can do. I'm almost surprised that she doesn't compare it more to house elves. In this
I know. That seems much more comparable to house elves.
Yes, it does. It does. But anyway, let's see here. Then what do we got?
She says, it was time now to think of the homework they neglected during the first week of the holidays. When I'm like, on December 26th, is it? Because you're all waking up from a midnight party. Like, I don't feel like when I'm waking up after like homecoming, I'm like, better get to my homework.
It's like, first things first.
Well, it's time to get here. So yeah, good for them, I guess. But now Harry is having the anxiety starting to set in about the second task. February the 24th looked a lot closer from this side of Christmas, which I would say I've been feeling quite personally myself this week, as I am running, as we were recording this, a triathlon tomorrow.
Yeah, you're closing in on like 16 hours away from go time.
I remember we got back from Disney and I was like, this is basically when I need to start training. And I'm like, I've got forever. I've got like all the way until like May or whatever. And now it's sort of like, it is tomorrow morning. You know? Like
it is upon us at this point.
Yeah. It can feel so far away, and you get so much time. And now I'm like, have I prepared enough? Am I going to make it? I don't know. So, I mean, I'm sure I'm going to make it.
You're going to do great.
I think it's going to be fine. Yeah.
Total faith.
Yep.
Let's see here.
So let's see. I do like that Harry, he doesn't just like put it off though. He doesn't like get the feeling like, oh, I should start figuring it out, and then like kind of avoid the problem. It does say like he started taking the egg out of his trunk every time he went into the dormitory, opening it, listening intently, hoping it would make some sense. He's asking it questions. He's trying to shout over it. Like he is trying things. He's not doing nothing with it.
Yeah. No, he's definitely like giving it like his best effort to attempt to figure something out. Like maybe this time something will dial in. One of the things I had to go and look up though, because it says he's trained to think what the sound reminded him of. This is when he opens the egg, apart from 30 musical saws. And I was like, I don't know what a musical saw is, other than like in my mind, I was sort of thinking about like violins or something, kind of having like the bow that you use to like scrape it back and forth. And so now I'm genuinely not sure, but I went down a total click hole in this particular situation and discovered that there are in fact people out there who literally play music on saws.
Oh, like what you used to cut wood with.
Like a handsaw.
Okay.
So like, the video that I stumbled across was like how to play a musical saw for beginners. And it was a woman who was holding she's like, this is a Stanley saw. So like Stanley is like a hardware brand you could just buy like at any big box store, and it's a, whatever. She would hold the saw like between her legs and then bend the blade and then use a violin bow to like with rosin on it.
Wow.
To literally like make this incredibly eerie sound off of the blade. And so part of me was almost like, I can absolutely see
on the sharp edges?
No, not on the sharp.
Okay.
So you would point the sharp, like the pointy bits, like at yourself, and then you would run the blade across the smooth part facing away from you.
Okay.
And it makes like a very imagine like a 50s or 60s sound of like an alien ship landing. It's very like
oh,
like,
weird.
It's got a really bizarre noise to it, and so like. Then, if I'm taking Harry's description here with 30 musical saws, I'm like, I could absolutely see where if you put 30 of these together, it would sound like utter nonsense,
right?
Because it is absolutely like a sound that seems more for like a what is it, Foley artist?
Okay, yeah.
For like people who like
making sound effects,
sound effects for like TV shows and movies and stuff. But I was like, otherwise when I typed in musical saw, it's not like something obvious came up. So maybe somebody out there is like, oh my gosh, you guys are so. You're missing the obvious.
You're missing it, yeah.
Because I feel like it can't possibly be about literally playing physical hand saws, but that's what these people were doing.
That's
what very very weird.
Makes sense. Makes sense to me. I mean, I don't know. I think you're right. I was thinking some sort of like violin situation, which I guess it's at least using the bow.
That's true. Yes. You are still taking like a more typical instrument in that way.
Yeah. Let's see. I do think he's like, I like his attitude towards Cedric now is like he was friends with, because this is exactly how it goes. Is like that guy's going out with that girl I like. He's the worst. I hate him.
Yes.
Yep.
Especially because Cedric has been nothing other than friendly the entire time we've known him.
Yeah.
But yeah. Said Harry had not forgotten the hint that Cedric had given him, but his less than friendly feelings for Cedric now just meant that he was not keen to take his help at all if he could avoid it.
Harry feels like he would have been a lot more explicit if he really wanted to help, to which I'm like, yeah, but for real. He could it very easily could have just been like, open it underwater, or we have to go into the lake, or mermaids. Yeah.
I know. It does. And I mean, I can't tell if like Cedric is just trying to be like super like low key, like hint, take it to a bath, and like it'll make sense once you're there.
Right. Can you imagine if he just took a bath and he didn't put it under the water and it was just like, well, that didn't help.
now I just smell all perfumed and I'm mad.
I know. Cedric.
It reminds me of Fairly Odd Parents when the dad is always like Dinkelberg,
Diggory. Yeah.
Oh yeah, there you go.
It works really good.
Speaking of after Yule Ball activities, it sounds like Cedric and Cho certainly had some amount of them because they are now officially dating.
Yeah. They're just like holding hands down the corridors and spending all their time together. Yep. So a much better outcome than he had with Parvati, I suppose.
Yeah,
which we will hear a little bit more about later in the chapter.
For sure that. Let's see here. The snow is upon the grounds. The greenhouse windows were covered in condensation so thick they couldn't see out of them herbology. Nobody was looking forward to care of magical creatures much in this weather. Though, as Ron had said, the Scroots would probably warm them up nicely either by chasing them or blasting off so forcefully that Habit's cabin would catch fire.
Yeah, what do you think the Scroots are actually doing right now?
I have no idea. It almost seems like the kind of thing like where whatever kind of like reptilian creatures that they may or may not be, maybe they're like in some version of like a hibernation type state. Like
maybe
they're all just kind of like stilly, like groggily, like
yeah. It seems like they haven't exactly found what they eat yet, and they almost seem better just like left to themselves.
It does seem like that's the case. Yes, yeah. You don't really need to take care of them. They take care of them.
They got it. Yeah. What do you think they're growing in the greenhouses here in the middle of the winter?
Oh, that's a good question too.
Yeah. Like, because I guess this is the kind of thing where it's like, well, I wonder what kind of magical plants bloom in the winter. And it's like, it doesn't matter. They can just make it warm in the greenhouse all the time. Yeah.
No big deal.
Because magic.
Right. Yes, we can easily achieve that. It's a good question. Are there any plants that we specifically would know about in the wizarding world that seem like they would be like winter adjacent?
I I don't know.
Okay.
Nothing comes to mind like off the top of my head.
Okay. All right. We'll have to ponder on that some more.
Yes. The winter bloom.
Yes. Right. Right. Anyway, but then as we do make it down to Care Magical Creatures, we discover that Hagrid is in fact not there, and we are introduced to Professor Grubbly-Plank.
Yes, Jim Dale has decided to give this person, Professor Grubbly-Plank, the most like, I don't even know how to describe their voice.
It's gurgly.
It's like gurgly.
I almost had like a little Donald.
You had
Duck.
a little Donald. Can you do a Donald Duck voice?
No, I can make like the.
Yeah, just add words in there.
But I don't know how to make the words because I'm putting too much effort.
Too much effort into the words. Yeah. I don't know how to do it either. Our grandpa can do it, and I've always been very jealous of this ability.
I know. Maybe one day I'll get it.
Yeah, I'm always like, one day I'm going to impress him. I'm going to be like, look, I can talk like Donald. He's not going to care. He's going to be like, oh, cool.
I've done that my whole life.
that
was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we're getting there.
Yeah.
Maybe it sounds better in the microphone. I can never tell. Like if I'm not hearing it as other people are hearing it, it just sounds like I'm making a bunch of like spit noises.
Speaking of spit noises, Grubbly-Plank.
Grubbly-Plank.
Yeah. So basically, you've got a situation here too, and I think it's kind of funny because it is clearly the case that Grubbly-Plank has been a former professor at Hogwarts in some capacity, and is under no assumption that like must have had more of like a generally professional relationship with the students versus like Harry's unique relationship with Hagrid. Because I feel like he's showing up and being like, where's Hagrid? And she's like, he is indisposed, she said shortly. And basically like, as far as she is concerned, she's like, it's none of your business. If he's not here, he's not here. I'm here instead. And Harry is not going to take this lying down. He's like, what's wrong with Hagrid? Hurrying to catch up with Professor Grubbly-Plank. Never you mind, she said as she she said as though he was being nosy.
Yeah, which he is.
Which he is, but I mean, they're like BFFs. It's like, you don't understand. He literally like rescued me as a baby from like the burning wreckage of like Voldemort's demise. So like, you know,
I do kind of care what happens to him. And then of course the Slytherins are there. How do they always find out like, okay, so yeah, Draco and the rest of the Slytherin were joining the class. All of them look gleeful. None of them look surprised to see Professor Grubbly-Plank. And it's like, how do they always know before the Gryffindors? Like, and the answer is that they just read the newspaper every day.
Yeah.
But to me, even that is comical because it like Draco just doesn't seem like someone who is like busting out the newspaper every morning, like, Crab Goyle, hold on, I'll be in the corner in the armchair reading the paper today. I need to catch up on the current events.
The current events.
I want you to do the crossword. Like, I just can't imagine Draco is just like reading the full paper every single day.
You're right. It does carry like a kind of diligence that seems more coded towards Hermione, but I suppose there's also like maybe like a Wall Street bro kind of like like situation.
Checking my wizard stocks.
Right. Yes. I mean, not no with Draco.
I mean, yeah, I guess there could be something to that. I don't know if wizards have like a stock market or something.
Also, I think in this particular situation, it is very clearly the case that Draco is kind of like on the in with Rita Skeeter.
He's featured in the article, so maybe he's looking for that reason. But it doesn't seem to matter. Whenever anything comes out, he knows about it immediately.
He's on it. He's on his current events.
I think he's taken owls like beneath the lake in the Slytherin common room, waking up early, sitting down in the leather armchair, having some, hot coffee delivered to him and just sipping on it before the rest of the Slytherins are even up.
Listen, Jay, in order to be as much of a jerk as Draco is for like the first 6 years of this entire book series, it's like, it takes work.
It takes work. Exactly. Not every second of his day is spent like harassing. At some point, he's just by himself.
Yes, exactly.
Like, what's he doing then? What's he doing for fun with his friends? He's got to be doing something.
The crossword.
The crossword. He's spending most of his day down there.
Yeah. Wordle.
Yeah. He's doing the Wordle. I think there is a Harry Potter Wordle
Is there?
out there. Yeah. It has like a clever name that I cannot think of right now. But
Okay.
anyway, yeah, that's what Draco's doing. You know it. You heard it here first.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay, so then Professor Grubbly-Plank leads them around to the paddock leads them around where the huge paddock is, where the Beauxbaton horses were standing, huddled against the cold, and toward a tree on the edge of the forest where a large and beautiful unicorn was tethered.
Well, but first of all, the Beauxbaton horses are shivering, which to me means that they are not getting that whiskey right now.
Oh, that's right.
I mean, who's feeding these horses while Hagrid is indisposed for 2 weeks?
That's a very good point.
I don't know who's feeding them, but I think Hagrid kept the whiskey for himself. So it sounds like he's having like a 2-week bender in there.
Oh gosh, that would be so much whiskey.
It's a lot. And, that's why Dumbledore's. We're gonna find Dumbledore down there. He's like, you know what? I think and then he gets down there and he's like, oh, it's all gone. Okay,
It's all tea.
All right.
It is.
Tea. It is. Hagrid. Breakfast tomorrow, 8:30. Whatever.
You're right. Poor Dumbledore missing out on yet another drink. Oh man. Let's see here though. We do learn a little bit about the lore around unicorns, and it sounds like they are more accepting of females as far as who they are willing to like get close to them. Boys, keep back, barked Professor Grubbly-Plank, throwing out an arm and catching Harry hard in the chest. Yeah. I'm sort of like,
I think she does. You think that's on purpose?
That's what I was wondering too.
Like, yeah, maybe she's just bluffing here. It's just like, all right, I gotta get rid of this kid.
Yeah, right.
Boys, stay back.
Wham.
They don't like boys. Yeah. All right.
That's write that down. That down.
That's how animals work.
Yeah.
I guess that's how the unicorns work, though.
Must be.
I love the description that the unicorn was so brightly white it made the snow look gray. Like that is so that's shining white.
It is. But there's like something I like understand so well about that visual too.
Yes,
it's
yes.
I feel like I've seen that before, but I don't know like how or when or where. But
I know. Like I cannot believe that unicorns don't come back into the story in some other way at some point.
Yeah.
Like the main thing unicorns do is have their blood be drank, have their tail hairs be in wands, and like restore Voldemort to like his gross body.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Harry doesn't have a relationship or an interaction with a living unicorn outside of like this moment.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It seems like at some point in time, like the Battle of Hogwarts, like Luna should have come like stampeding in, like riding a unicorn bareback with like a bow and arrow or something.
Yeah, like what the heck?
It's like, wow.
Yeah, now,
Luna. That is cool.
That is cool. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cavalry.
Right. Yeah. What does she ride? Side saddle?
You ride side saddle. Yeah.
Yeah. When she's riding the Thestrals.
Right.
So yeah, I think she could do it. She's clearly getting in some equestrian training somewhere.
She's ridden horses before, clearly.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. So then we're trying to figure out. Harry and Ron are chatting, and they're trying to figure out what's wrong with Hagrid, and they're sort of supposing like could it have been one of the Scroots, because I suppose those were getting bigger and more dangerous by the day. But then of course, as always, Malfoy overhears it, and he's like, "Oh, he hasn't been attacked, Potter. If that's what you're thinking, no, he's just too ashamed to show his big ugly face."
Yeah, nice. Good Draco.
Oh, thanks.
Solid.
I appreciate it.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. He says, hate to break it to you, Potter. I doubt he means that. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
I think he's excited to break it to him.
He's so excited. I bet he ran down here. Where's Harry? Where's Harry?
He's going to hate this.
He's going to hate it. Hold on. Play it cool. He hasn't been hurt, Potter, if that's what you're thinking.
That's him like holding back his glee.
Oh, Dumbledore's giant mistake. Oh boy, what a great headline! You know,
I know, yeah.
It has a double meaning on giant.
Excellent wordplay.
Wow.
I see what because it's also suggesting the size of the mistake, not just a mistake about a giant.
Exactly.
Yes. It's clever.
So clever, Rita.
Well done.
I know. I like how the article starts out by just slamming Moody and Dumbledore instead of Hagrid as well.
I know.
Yeah.
Yep, it's true. And it's kind of funny because like she goes on and on about Moody, and it's like, gosh, if you only knew the actual truth.
But this is clever writing too, because this is further sowing doubt like in your mind about like who Moody is. Like, you are like, oh yeah, Mad Eye Moody, the notoriously jinx happy ex-or. It's like, oh well, if Rita Skeeter doesn't like him, then he clearly must be awesome.
Exactly.
You know, and
yes.
it's just like it is well done that he's nowhere around the situation, and you're still getting the information that like, nah, Moody's awesome. You know, he's not jinx happy. He's just vigilant.
Yeah, constant vigilance.
Exactly. So, at this point, it's more and more sowing doubt, you don't see it coming.
Yep. Then we get the Rubius Hagrid, who admits to being expelled from Hogwarts in his third year, has enjoyed the position of gamekeeper at the school ever since. A job secured for him by Dumbledore. This is always kind of one of those things, and we've brought it up plenty of times in the past, but it is just kind of shocking that Dumbledore was able to get away with this particular appointment, because it seems like he would meet resistance, because it was basically like, we got to shut down the school unless we can figure out what's going on with this whole Chamber of Secrets situation. It's like, hey, it was that guy.
It was that, yeah.
Well, why don't we give him the keys to everything?
Right, I know. Very, very odd. Also, it's crazy to me that she mentioned, it says he admitted to being expelled from Hogwarts in his third year, but somehow she doesn't know the circumstances that like was expelled for murdering someone.
Oh yeah, true.
And then she also doesn't mention that he spent like time in Azkaban 2 years ago.
Right.
Like all things, but she will have done at least enough research to figure out the identity of his mother, Fridwulfa.
Yes.
Like that's surprising to me. She because Hagrid doesn't say who his mom is. She has done a little bit of extra research to figure that out, but somehow didn't know that Hagrid went to Azkaban or killed a girl, allegedly. Things that obviously are irrelevant because he didn't kill Myrtle and he was wrongly sent to Azkaban, but are 1,000,000% things Rita would bring up.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. Anything that's going to make her case look stronger. But on that note, then we get the quote here, lines from Malfoy and Crabbe, and it says, "I was attacked by a hippogriff, and my friend Vincent Crabbe got a bad bite off a flobberworm," says Draco Malfoy, a fourth-year student. "We all hate Hagrid, but we're too scared to say anything." And
I circled that and I was like, that's almost all you say.
Yeah, right. Yes. This comes up constantly,
Frequently.
Draco. I don't know who you're kidding.
Yeah.
But also like the inclusion of like the bad bite off of a flobberworm. It's like the attack by a hippogriff, sure, like that could be like one thing, like that may have even just like made the news anyway. Like people could see the potential threat in something as large as a hippogriff. But then like having the bad bite off a flobberworm, it's almost as if like you're just assuming the general public doesn't know that flobberworms aren't dangerous.
I know, right? Like, I mean, if you read that in a regular newspaper and it's like, yeah, and I got bit by a worm, you'd be like, what?
It's like, that's not really a thing.
Not really a thing. They don't bite or have teeth or anything.
Exactly. So.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, all right. Like it feels like you're just like kind of defeating your own case a little bit. And also it just seems kind of insulting to the general knowledge of like the wizarding populace, but whatever.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see here. Hagrid has no intention of ceasing his campaign of intimidation. However, in conversation with a Daily Prophet reporter last month, he admitted to
not herself.
Right. Yes. Yeah. He admitted breeding creatures he has dubbed blast-ended scroots, highly dangerous crosses between manticores and fire crabs.
Yeah. That I'm like, Hagrid, why would you say that?
I know. It's definitely like one of those things. But this is the first time that we, the audience, have been told this piece of information.
True. Yes.
And it's where we know that that's where blast-ended scroots come from is this particular thing. The next bit is sort of like one of those things where I have always operated under the belief that like, and it will suggest this a little bit, but that like what Hagrid has done is like very illegal. But really what it says is that the creation of new breeds of magical creatures is of course an activity usually closely observed by the Department for the Regulation and Control of Magical Creatures. And so it's like, I feel like what that's saying is that like this is the kind of thing that like when it's done is usually done under like this observation, but it doesn't necessarily make it seem like it's just explicitly illegal.
Well, I guess you're right. It does not say that. It says, it isn't. But the next sentence is Hagrid, however, considers himself to be above such petty restrictions, which makes it sound like there are restrictions around it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like maybe he just like skated past the red tape is sort of like the way.
I mean, it's like if you do it in your backyard, I mean, what are they going to do?
Yeah, exactly. And if your backyard happens to be a school, then whatever.
Well, you do whatever. I mean, it does seem true that he did not care.
There's that. Yes, and I could even hear Hagrid saying like, "I was just having some fun."
Yeah,
like
I'm just putting stuff in a box, see what happens. happens, you know?
Yeah, no big deal. No big deal.
Yeah.
But
you seen these two different creatures? I didn't think they were going to make something.
Right. But then he says before hastily changing the subject, which I'm like, I don't believe that. I don't believe that he hastily changed the subject away from Scroots at all.
Yeah.
I feel like he was like, do you want to hear more?
Everyone's been trying to get him to change the subject away from Scroots all year. And he's been like, nah, we're going to walk them.
Yes.
Oh man, yeah, but then this is where you get into it. It says, "Well, as though that were not enough, the Daily Prophet has now unearthed evidence that Hagrid is not, as he's always pretended, a pure blood wizard." Which has he pretended that?
I literally wrote that with like a little question mark next to it because I was like, I don't feel like this. Like Hagrid seems like he identifies a little bit like as an outcast. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I guess he's gonna say that to Harry in this chapter, and maybe that's where I'm getting that sentiment from.
Yeah,
but like, yeah, it's. Especially pure blood. I mean, that's such like a limited, finite number of people.
Right, exactly. Although pure blood wizard, that helps our case that if Hagrid is pretending to be pure blood, that helps our case that he was in Slytherin.
That's a good point.
You know. But then it's that we get onto his mother. We can exclusively reveal is none other than the giantess Fridwulfa, to which I'm like, you don't really name your source for this, so I guess we'll just take your word for it.
I guess so, yeah. But Fridwulfa is one of those pieces of trivia because I don't think it comes up again.
I'm not sure it does. And it says whose whereabouts are currently unknown, although the answer to that is that she's dead.
Yeah,
right.
That is correct. Yeah. Let's see here. Then it goes on to say a little bit about how giants were known to having like joined the ranks of He Who Must Not Be Named and were responsible for some of the worst mass Muggle killings during his reign of terror.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
right? That's
true. And I think that this is like another piece though, where like that also sort of further suggests that like Tom Riddle would have been attempting to recruit Hagrid
exactly
as a fellow student because like he recruits the giants. And so while he's at school, like before he has access to, you know, the capital G giants, he might be picking Hagrid in a very similar capacity to how like Draco, for example, has like Crabbe and Goyle as sort of like the like almost like physical muscle of intimidation, not like the magical intimidation.
Yeah, I can totally see that as well. Or even, I mean, I can imagine he would want to put him to the exact same use that Dumbledore does and like, you know, have him be the envoy that goes to the giants and convinces them. It's like, this is definitely the best person to do it.
Exactly. And all this, because I feel like we haven't fully clarified, it's sort of the name that like we're led to believe through like additional writing on Pottermore and stuff that Hagrid is supposed to be in Gryffindor, but we have always sort of challenged it and sort of asserted that we believe that there's a strong possibility that he was actually in Slytherin, which seems shocking based on everything you know about him more in the present and his allegiance to Harry and all the rest. But there are a lot of things that seem to point towards that Slytherin lineage. Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Rita goes on to say, Fridwulfa's son appears to have inherited her brutal nature, of which there are no signs of.
Yep.
She has. It's like she says that, but it's like she has not listed a brutal thing he has done yet. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I guess other than like breeding the Scroots.
Yeah, but that's not like, you know, a brutal nature.
No, you're right. Right. Yeah.
Let's see. And then in a bizarre twist, Hagrid is reputed to have developed a close friendship with the boy who brought about you-know-who's fall from power, thereby driving Hagrid's own mother, like the rest of you-know-who's supporters, into hiding. Perhaps Harry Potter is unaware of the unpleasant truth about his large friend. Well, I guess he was unaware of it, but he also does not care. And then manages to throw Dumbledore under the bus again, just for no reason. But Albus Dumbledore surely has a duty to ensure that Harry Potter, along with his fellow students, is warned about the dangers of associating with part giants. Responsibility she has clearly put on her own shoulders.
Yes, indeed. Yes. But the thing is, though, is that like Rita, like don't like feign like you're actually looking out for people. This is for the clicks, and you know it.
Oh, it's absolutely for the clicks. I mean, I think she tells Hermione next year that's like the prophet exists to sell itself, you silly girl. Or
it's literally called the prophet.
Yeah, the prophet. Yes, the prophet or the prophet. Exactly. Both.
Wow.
It's a good name. Really good name.
That actually is a really good name, and I've never made that connection before, and I don't even know that that's really like the intended purpose, but it does seem like it gets there in the end.
By the end, for sure, it's there.
They're going for the daily PROFIT.
Yes, exactly. And then, of course, all Harry and Ron are just like, how did she find out? Which we do know. We saw in the very last chapter, the beetle climbing on the reindeer at the Yule Ball. That is how she found out. She's just eavesdropping on conversations. But you guys know that, obviously.
Yep, of course.
Yep. And then, Harry is just so angry about this. He is all riled up. What's this rubbish about him getting a bad bite of a flobberworm? They haven't even got teeth. Crab is sniggering, which is sounds we hear from Crab, which we've not, he doesn't say anything until book 7.
Yeah. We don't get a lot of speaking lines from old Crab and Goyle.
Nope, not at all.
Let's see here. But then, Malfoy is basically convinced that at long last, he has finally brought about an end to the teaching career of one Hagrid, a half giant. And there was me thinking he just swallowed a bottle of Scaligro when he was young. None of the mummies and daddies are going to like this at all. They'll be worried to eat their kids. Ha, ha. And then,
anyway, hand me that give me that paper back now, Potter. I haven't finished the crossword. I want to get to the Sudoku by lunch.
That's right. I got plenty of the games left to knock out first.
Yeah.
Harry's about to retort with goodness knows what, when, of course, as per always, this is the moment that Grubbly-Plank decides to pay attention and interject and say, "Are you paying attention over there?"
Yeah.
It's always the worst timing. I feel like it's always like Malfoy will say something absolutely horrific, and then Harry will go to retort, and then McGonagall or Snape or someone will walk around the corner and it'll be like, "Come on.
I know.
You guys could have just been here 1 second sooner."
1 second earlier. I know. And then also, Draco's reasoning's so dumb. He's like, none of the mommies and daddies are going to like this. They'll be worried to eat their kids. And it's like, as if he hasn't been there for 50 years.
That's exactly right.
Has there been any incidents?
Right.
No.
How many children have been eaten in the 50 years?
Exactly.
As far as we know, none.
Not even the ones the basilisk kills.
Yeah.
Which Hagrid didn't even do.
Despite all of the peacocking on behalf of the basilisk being like, rip,
so
tear,
hungry.
Yeah, it's like,
are you?
You don't need any. You end up freezing a whole bunch of victims and then do nothing about it.
I know.
You just leave them there,
saving them for later.
Yeah.
Probably got a freezer. Yeah, I got a cellar down here.
That's right. Yeah,
got a chest freezer. It's full of dead bodies.
A Yeti cooler I can always keep stocked with ice.
He's got but it's like a Yeti, like a magical Yeti cooler.
A magical Yeti cooler.
Yeah, that kind of Yeti.
Right. Oh man,
boy, we never get to meet a Yeti in the Harry Potter books, which is a bummer because apparently Gilderoy Lockhart encountered one.
Oh well, I mean somebody did.
Someone, yes, that's what I mean. Someone did that he stole the story from, right?
Yes.
Year with a Yeti?
Yes.
Someone spent a whole year with one.
A whole year.
Yeah.
And we get none of that?
We get none of that? We get no Yeti action in these books? Pff, for shame. That's what Crumb should have been talking about. It's like, we have Yetis, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. I don't know if that was a very good Russian accent.
I know. I was like, I'm pretty sure we just went like Irish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. We are flying every day. No, I don't know if I did it again. Man.
It's okay. All right. Let's see here.
Nini. That's more okay. So then afterwards, all the Hermione and basically everyone's like, you know what though? That was a really good class. Actually, Professor Grubbly-Plank, pretty amazing. Pretty much slaps.
Yes, absolutely. And that I think who ends up saying it was Parvati says that's more what I thought care of magical creatures would be like. Proper creatures like unicorns, not monsters. And it's like I think that the feedback that the other students are giving, it's like, we all love Hagrid, of course, but it's like they're not wrong either. Like Hagrid has had them basically learning about one creature that he himself doesn't know much about at all.
Oh, I know. So far, the whole class has pretty much been hippogriffs on day 1.
Yep.
Flobberworms for most of a year.
Yep.
One class with nifflers. I think not even yet. No,
not even yet.
Nifflers
are coming.
Flobberworms, and then we launched right into Scroots, and they've been doing Scroots the whole year.
Right.
So they learned about 3 things: Flobberworms, which there's basically nothing to learn about; hippogriffs, which they did for 1 day.
Yeah.
And now this. So it's that makes sense.
I can definitely see, why these guys are a bit frustrated with what their teaching has been like versus what they got on this particular occasion.
Yeah.
Of course, Harry is super angry because he's like, Hagrid's missing, and so he's like, "What about Hagrid?" And then Parvati's like, "What about him?" In a hard voice, he can still be gamekeeper, can't he? And it's like, ooh. Harsh, Parvati, harsh.
Ooh.
But Parvati had been very cold towards Harry ever since the ball. He supposed that he ought to have paid her a bit more attention, and she seemed to have a good time all the same.
But she seemed to have a good time.
But she seemed to have a good time all the same. She was certainly telling anyone who would listen that she had made arrangements to meet up from the boy from Beauxbatons in Hogsmeade on the next weekend trip.
Right. See, so this, I think all of that to me is proof that like Parvati like had like an actual crush on Harry. Like when McGonagall tells him about the ball, both her and Lavender are like, they immediately turn to Harry. And then she, like, imagine that if you're Parvati and it's like, oh my gosh, like Harry actually, he asked me.
Yeah.
No way. I can't believe it. That's so exciting. Like your crush asked you and then you get there and he's like, see ya. Like, because she had a lot of fun. So why is she mad at Harry?
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Exactly. Like everything still worked out great for Parvati.
Everything still worked out fine. So there's no reason to be mad at Harry.
That's right.
Unless it's like, it didn't work out. It didn't work out as well as it could have because she liked Harry and he didn't return it. So
right.
Yeah.
But then Hermione's right there really with Parvati and she's like, that was a really good lesson. I didn't know half the things Professor Goblet-Plank told us about Una. Look at this, Harry snarled, and he shoved the Daily Prophet article under Hermione's nose.
Who even cares about unicorns?
Hermione's mouth fell open as she read. Her reaction was exactly the same as Ron's. How did that horrible Skeeter woman find out? You don't think Hagrid told her?
No. I mean, he told her the literal animals he used to create a new breed, but...
But not this particular detail, which Harry then rightly points out that he never even told us, did he? I reckon she was so mad that he wouldn't give her loads of horrible stuff about me. She went ferreting around to get him back.
How stupid is... That's such dumb reasoning if you're... If this is the real reason, if you're Rita Skeeter, it's like, oh, I went to Hagrid's class. I started asking questions, found out he was friends with Harry, asked him for an interview. He said yes, and then didn't say mean things about Harry. And it's like, so now I'm going to take him down. And it's like, what, like that doesn't even follow.
It doesn't really track. All I can figure is that her being out in the gardens during the Yule Ball was just sniffing around for any story, and it happened to be about Hagrid.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then she just starts painting the narrative with everything else that she's collected so far.
Yeah. And then I think this is funny. It says maybe she heard her. Yeah. Like or Ron says we'd have seen her in the garden. It's like you did.
You literally were looking at it.
Yeah, man. Yep. And then it says Hagrid said Dumbledore banned her, and it's like she was banned when she was at Hagrid. So like she clearly doesn't care.
Right.
Yeah. And then let's see, I love how Harry says maybe she's got an invisibility cloak, ladling chicken casserole onto his plate, which I'm like, wow, surprisingly non-plain food.
Look, good for you, Harry.
Look at you expanding.
He's like, I'm tired of baked potatoes.
Tired of baked potatoes and toast and porridge.
Yeah. Sort of things you do though, isn't it? To hide in the bushes, listening to people, and it's like literally, yes.
Literally, great instincts, Harry.
Absolutely, indeed.
Of course, Hermione can't help herself. Just like you and Ron did. It's like, wow, we weren't trying to.
We didn't have any choice.
Fleur was standing right there. What was I supposed to do?
Walk past her?
Walk past somebody? I don't think so, Hermione. You're being unreasonable.
I was stuck. Right.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah. So then they end up having the conversation like that they're going to go see Hagrid. It says like this evening after divination, tell him we want him back. You do want him back, he shot Hermione. Well, I'm not going to pretend he didn't make a nice change. It's like,
I know. She's like, I'm holding my ground here. Like that was like, I cared. Like it was a much better lesson.
Yes.
Which, good for Hermione, I guess. And then she does at least concede. She does want Hagrid back. Of course I do.
Yes.
Let's see. And then they go down and they try to get him to answer the door, which he does not do, which is kind of surprising because they hammer on it for 10 minutes. And it's like, he is really not taking guests right now, which is like, you'd think for Harry, like they even announce who it is. So, right. I mean, this is where I think he's like pretty much on the bender, like he's just in there like drinking himself to sleep,
You think he's passed out?
I think maybe. I don't feel like he would ignore a Harry, Ron, and Hermione like this.
It does seem surprising, but even here in a little bit when he does open the door, it's actually not even Hagrid that does it, it's Dumbledore.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but then even like Harry's response is he surely doesn't think we'd care about him being half giant, and it's like, I mean, if he's just ignoring them and he's like conscious in there and actively not, it's like the self-hate goes pretty deep here.
Yes.
In this particular situation. It says, but it seemed that Hagrid did care. They didn't see a sign of him all week. And it's going to be longer than that. It's going to be like through like at least 2 weeks or so. I think.
Yeah. The really important thing I think to keep in mind though is that it's not the shame of being like, outed as a half giant that I think is really killing him. I think really what's happening is it's like kind of the heartbreak over Madame Maxine's response. Because like I feel like that's what really cut him the deepest. Like he finally found somebody who could potentially like give him a kind of companionship that he has not been able to discover, and he's what, like 64 years old.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's like, it's a long life to kind of live in a measure of solitude.
Yeah.
Like, this was like his first glimmer at the potential to have, I don't even know if like normalcy is the right word, but like just to have someone there who cares. And Madame Maxime so far has seemed to not dislike.
To like reciprocate. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think what he really is like proper heartbroken. Cause like when we do finally talk to him, it seems like he really gets fixated on like the big bones comment.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Then it goes on to say Malfoy was gloating at every possible moment that Hagrid had in return. It's like as if you had anything to do with it. Like, I mean, I guess you like gave a line in the interview, but that's not what people are upset about. Like it's the half giant thing.
I think that Malfoy's trying real hard here. It's like, sure, you're a school champion and got past the dragon and you're tied for first place in the Triwizard tournament and everything. But I have 2 speaking lines in a Rita Skeeter article. So we're basically on the same page.
We're basically on the same. Yeah, you notice how Harry doesn't like rise to the occasion. And like, I guess it's like Malfoy's been making fun of Harry for the article about him for like all year. And like Harry like delivers one retort and he's like, your line was stupid. It didn't even make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he drops it.
It. Yes. Because Harry is not just like unbelievably petty like Draco is.
Yeah.
Who just needs a better hobby other than apparently all the games in the newspaper.
And just reading the newspaper back to front. He says, missing the elephant man, to which I'm like, dude, chill.
Come on.
Dude, so mean.
Park it.
And then it says there was a Hogsmeade visit halfway through January. That's how you know that it's been like 2 weeks into the year.
Because we started the chapter on Boxing Day.
On Boxing Day, and they had like a week to get their like homework done before the new term started. So Hermione was very surprised that Harry was going to go, which I'm like, are you? Like, it's like he still has 5 weeks to go until the tournament. Like, I think he's good.
It is kind of interesting too, because like I think this is another area where kind of like that like literary architecture I was talking about like at the beginning of the chapter, like he is going to lie about his position on the egg 3 times in this chapter.
Yeah.
He's going to do it first to Hermione and then to Ludo Bagman and then to Hagrid.
Yeah.
And the one with Hagrid is going to be the one that like finally is like, okay, this is too much.
Right.
Like, it's like, I kind of wanted Hermione to get off my back. Ludo is making me uncomfortable for other weird reasons, but like Hagrid believes in me.
Right.
And it's like, so I do think that like, it's almost like we're going for like 3 ticks on this particular point, because that's going to finally be the measure that motivates him to do something.
Right. He needs like a reason to like take Cedric's hint.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Other than just being like, all right, I'm coming around on it. So,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the case that we're building here. So, but in the meantime, this is what Harry says to Hermione. He says, I've got a pretty good idea what it's about now. And Hermione's like, have you really? Looking impressed. Well done.
Yeah.
And in this particular case, it gives his insides a guilty squirm, but he ignored them. He still had the 5 weeks to go, whatever. Whereas if he went to Hogsmeade, he might run into Hagrid and have a chance to persuade him to come back.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Good luck with that. I do. Yeah, I love it now when they're walking to Hogsmeade. It says they saw Victor Crumb emerge onto the deck, dressed in nothing but swim trunks. He was very skinny indeed, but apparently a lot tougher than he looked, because he climbed up to the side of the ship, stretched out his arms, and dived right into the lake. So what's happening here is that Crumb has already figured out the egg, and he is now practicing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what you have going on. And this little piece of dialogue I think is also kind of interesting, like, because Harry's like, he's mad. It must be freezing. It's January. And I'm like, the task takes place in February, and I bet it's not a whole lot warmer.
It seems like it's much colder where they are than it is like, where we're from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And I can tell you right now that if you get in the water in January or February, even where we live, where it's more mild tempered, more mild temperatures, it will suck the air clean out of you.
It will. Yeah.
But then Hermione responds, it's a lot colder where he comes from. I suppose it feels quite warm to him. And I'm like,
doubt it.
No, it doesn't.
Cold water is cold no matter what, man.
Yes. Because there's also the additional fact that water freezes at 32 degrees.
Yeah.
And so it's like if it's liquid water, then it's slightly above
freezing.
Yeah. But like that is true no matter where you are.
Exactly.
So maybe he has to punch a hole in the ice, but it's not like the water underneath the ice is that much colder. Like you can't have 15-degree water.
Right. Yeah. Because you just have ice.
You just have ice.
Exactly. What else was it? I mean, it's like, and if you like, I know you've done some like cold plunge tank stuff.
Yes.
Personally. But like, as I understand it, even to people who have like cold tanks and do like ice baths like every day with like freezing or, nearly freezing water, like it is, even if you do it every day, it is like still painful to get in every day.
It is still painful. Yeah. It's like, I mean, it doesn't matter how many times I do it. I have to talk myself into doing it every time.
Right.
And then in addition, Crumb is swimming in it, which I know this sounds crazy, but like if you think of like the weather wind chill, it's like that is like cold air being made even colder because it's being blown across you and therefore like taking the heat from your body as it goes by. So what's even worse about cold water is when you're in cold water and moving.
Yeah.
Because then you're not building like a thin layer of like warmth around you from your own body heat.
Right.
It's just being all dispersed. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's probably more information than anybody wants to know about Crumb going for a swim. But it stood out to me.
Let's see. And then there's Ron though saying, yeah, but there's still the giant squid. Not sounding anxious, sounding hopeful. So it's like, yeah, but there's still the giant squid. Yeah. Oh man, if it's not the cold, it'll be the tentacles.
The tentacle, that's right. That's right. But then Hermione chimes in, and I thought this was like maybe a little bit brave, just given the thin ice, as it were, that these two have been on. But he's really nice, she said. He's not at all like you'd think, coming from Durmstrang. He likes it much better here. He told me. And this does track, I feel like, with the few murmurs of conversation we've heard from Crumb or even the Durmstrang students when they first arrived. They're just sort of like looking around the Great Hall with like eyes of wonder.
Yeah. But it sounds like he's not at all like you'd think coming from Durmstrang. It's like, that's a little prejudice on Hermione's part.
That's also true.
It's just sort of like, yeah, those Durmstrang guys, look out.
They're all bad except for this one.
All bad except for this one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. But then we also find out that Ron has ripped the arm off of his Bulgarian Quidditch Crumb action figure.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah. His favorite toy.
His favorite. This is like one of those things that I feel like could be like way over, like dramatized in like the series. Is like Harry almost like picking up like a pillow off the floor and just like super zooming in on this like little arm just like laying on the ground.
Yeah,
it's like, oh gosh.
Oh
boy.
Poor Crumb's hand. Maybe still holding the snitch.
Yeah. Oh, that would be so funny.
Right.
Yes, that's how you know exactly who it is.
Yeah. Let's see. Then they head, but it's pretty easy to figure out that Hagrid is nowhere to be seen because he's very easy to spot and he's just not there. But eventually they head to the Three Broomsticks where he's also not there. And Harry's like, oh, I may as well have just stayed behind and listened to that egg wailing after all. And I'm like, well, I mean, like, but butterbeer, dude. Sounds pretty amazing.
Every time I have the opportunity to get some butterbeer, I'm usually pretty happy
about it. And I'm also pretty sure that yours, the fictional version, tastes even better than like the regular versions I have,
Although I will say that we went through and we bought like all of the sweets that were available off like the harrypotter.com shopping cart.
Yeah.
And we made a whole Super Carlin Brothers video about it. And the glass bottled butterbeers that we ordered were far and away our favorite.
Oh, those were good.
It's way better than like what you can get like at Universal. So if you've never had one of those before, highly recommend it.
Indeed.
Yeah, super good. Anyway, so while they're at the Three Broomsticks, though, getting their butterbeers, while we're speaking of it, we also spot Ludo Bagman over in the corner, surrounded by a bunch of goblins.
I know. Oh, well, before that, Hermione says, doesn't he ever go into the office? Hermione whispered suddenly, look, and she finds Ludo Bagman, to which I'm like, Hermione, it's Saturday. Why would he be at the office? I know. And then Harry's going to be like, it was indeed odd. Harry thought that Bagman was here at the Three Broomsticks on a weekend. There was no Triwizard event. Like, as if this isn't the only wizard village that exists. Like the man's allowed to go get a drink.
Exactly.
You know,
Yes.
like travel's not hard. Travel's not hard. You know,
Apparition.
Just apparition there. And we know he can do it. He apparated at the World Cup.
Right.
You know, it is not weird for sports legend Ludo Bagman to be at the most famous bar in the most famous town getting a drink on the weekend.
Exactly.
There's nothing weird about this. Okay.
No.
It's weird that he's talking to the goblins and he is there. Like he is a shady person, but your suspicions around this are stupid.
The setup for it, yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yes, you're absolutely right. But yeah, so there was no Triwizard event, and therefore no judging to be done. So clearly we're throwing some super heavy red herring bait out there. And it does say that he watched Bagman in the mirror. He was looking strained again, quite as strained as he had that night in the forest before the dark mark had appeared.
That's like trying to connect the dots for you.
That's exactly right, because it's been a while since that particular scene in the forest where just after the dark mark is cast, you run into Ludo Bagman looking kind of in a state of panic. And of course, what was happening to then is basically the same thing that's happening now, which is that he has like sort of been fraudulent in his gambling activities.
Yeah.
And he's kind of afraid of the people who are after him. But
because before they run into Bagman, they like walk past a group of goblins who are counting their gold.
That's
but, like,
right.
In the fullness of time, we realize that what's happened is Bagman lost the bet, used the leprechaun gold, paid the goblins, and then like booked it before they realized it was fake, ran into them, and then everything started going down.
And then everything, exactly. So anyway, but as ever, we're going to see that Ludo can bounce right on back super quick.
Dude,
like,
very fast on his feet, right until he's not.
Right until he's not.
Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, so yeah, then he's Ludo spots Harry over by the bar and stands up. In a moment, he heard him say to the goblins, he heads towards Harry with a boyish grin back on his face. And which I just wrote, like, this man has some resilience.
He does.
You know, like I'm just shocked. Harry, he said, how are you? Been hoping to run into you. Everything going all right? Fine, thanks, said Harry.
Yeah.
Wonder if I could have a quick private word, Harry, said Bagman eagerly. You couldn't give us a moment, you two, could you? Okay, said Ron. And he and Hermione went off to find a table. Let's see here. Yeah, so the just keep coming back.
Well, that's
up.
Ron this time. Last chapter, he was all double wording things.
He was all double wording.
Now he's back. Now he's things.
He's erring
picking
things.
up from Harry.
There's going to be a whole bunch of
There are a lot of I could not believe it. I'm like, this is so intentional once you're aware of it.
It absolutely is. Yeah. So, and again, in case you didn't listen to last week's episode, basically, during the third task, Harry's going to encounter the Sphinx, which is going to give him a riddle to which the answer is spider. And the way that it's broken down is basically like the first little piece is like I forget the clue for a spy.
A spy. Yeah.
But the answer is spy.
The answer is spy. Yeah.
The middle is the middle of middle, which would be a D, and that's how you get the S, like spy D. And then the last is like a verbal crutch.
Right. It's like the sound often said on the search for a hard to find word or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Harry, like, while he's thinking, he's like,
is the word, but he's been doing it the whole book.
The whole book. And they're just absolutely everywhere. Yeah. So now we can't not spot them.
Yeah.
So we just gotta circle them every time we do. Let's see here. Bagman led Harry along the bar to the furthest end from Madame Rosmerta. Well, I just thought I'd come to congratulate you again on your splendid performance against the Horntail, Harry, said Bagman. Really superb.
Right.
To which, Harry's sort of like, you could have told me that in front of Ron and Hermione, so that's clearly not what you want.
Clearly not. But of course, what he actually wants is he's being cornered by the goblins because they want him to pay the money, and he doesn't have the money. And he's saying, "Don't worry, I'll get out of this because I'm gonna either give you even more money and bet on Harry to win the Triwizard Tournament." But he's planning on winning that bet by helping Harry cheat. So he's trying to give him help.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, then Bagman is pretty candid, sort of about what his experience has been like with the goblins, shy of the actual problem,
right?
Which I think is to like pretty much throw you off the scent there, because it's just like absolute nightmare. It's like being back with the Bulgarians at the Quidditch World Cup, which we remember that whole situation as well, where like the one Bulgarian prime minister like actually speaks English the whole time, and Fudge is so annoyed because he's like, "You speak English?
Yeah,
you've had been like miming things all day." And he's like, "Well, it was very funny."
It was very funny.
So we have some precedent for this. But it says, but at least they use I'm sorry, but at least they use sign language another human could recognize. This lot keep gabbling in gobbledygook, and I only know one word of gobbledygook. Bladvac.
Bladvac.
It means pickaxe. I don't like to use it in case they think I'm threatening them.
Like, why would that be the only word you know?
It's so true.
I know.
Like, Ludo, what expeditions have you been on where like you're going ice climbing or something like that, and you've got a goblin tour guide who's like, now this is a Bladvac.
How is he getting into such deep gambling problem with these goblins if all I can say to them is Bladvac?
That's a good point.
You know?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
That's like did you just accidentally accept a bet you didn't understand? Because I feel like you could talk that out.
It does seem
obviously
like
the goblins don't feel that way. They're all like, well, that's a whole lot of Bladvac, okay?
That's a good one. Oh man, what do they want? Said Harry, noticing how the goblins were all watching Bagman very closely. Well, said Bagman, looking suddenly nervous. They're looking for Barty Crouch. It's like, okay, yeah, you came up with that one pretty quickly.
Not a very good lie, though, honestly.
Why are they looking for him here? Said Harry. He's at the ministry in London, isn't he? No, Harry. It's Saturday.
It's Saturday. How often do wizards work? Is this a 7-day work week they got going here?
Could be. 7 is the most powerfully magical number.
I guess, but like it is the weekend, y'all. You're here.
Yeah, right. Yes, good point. Let's see here. Then Ludo is way too honest about what's going on with someone as high ranking as Barty Crouch. He's like, he sort of stopped coming into work. Young Percy, his assistant, says he's ill. Been sending instructions in by Owl, but would you mind not mentioning that to anyone, Harry? It's like,
maybe you shouldn't have mentioned it to anyone.
It's a bit of an overshare, but okay.
Yeah.
Even he points out that Rita Skeeter's been poking around everywhere she can. It's like, okay, she's gonna find holes with people like you out there.
Oh, I know. But then he says, I'm willing to bet she'd work up Barty's illness into something sinister. Or probably say he's gone missing like Bertha Jorkins, which hilariously is the exact truth.
Yes. Exactly. Have you heard anything about Bertha Jorkins? Harry asked.
No.
No, said Bagman, looking strained again. I've got people looking, of course. About time, thought Harry.
Harry's so invested in the Bertha Jorkins case.
When he knows what happened to her.
But he can't remember that he knows.
And that's the thing. So per our books, this is page 446, and he learns about it in chapter 1 on like page 9. That is, again, we sort of talk about the dreamlike state that Harry's coming out of in the first chapter of the series and how he's supposed to forget important details, and we, the audience, are supposed to forget important details.
When Bertha Jorkins came up here, I was like, it happened. It has happened, because I'm like, oh yeah, Bertha Jorkins. Like, I don't care about that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but that's exactly what's happening in the story too.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Then we get like a whole bunch of information. She definitely arrived in Albania because she met her second cousin there, which, holy cow, trivia. Like, I would have had, if you had asked me, like, who was Bertha Jorkins meeting in Albania, I would have said Wormtail before I said her second cousin.
Yeah, right. I know her second cousin, as if, and it's like they cannot figure it out. It's like, she disappeared in Albania, and it's like, but apparently, like, Albania is like where Voldemort is rumored to be, and like no one else can make this connection.
Right.
It's so annoying, especially because there were just Death Eaters at the World Cup and the Dark Mark at the World Cup, and it's like, guys. Death Eaters, Dark Mark, Albania, Bertha Jorkins. It is not hard.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Start triangulating the data, people.
Start doing it. It says she left her cousin's house to go south to see an aunt. So she's like on a whole family tour. And she seems to vanish without a trace en route. Blowed if I could see where she's got to. She doesn't seem the type to elope, for instance. And she's like, and yet she was kind of charmed by Wormbutt. Down in Albania.
That's a good point.
Right. It's like he is kind of spot on the money with all this stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Do you think Peter proposed that? That's like the way he like lured her away?
Like, Bertha. Well, they would have been in school together, right? So they would have been like old classmates because Sirius remembers Bertha.
That's right. She was an idiot.
I know. You can just see Peter chiming up and like, oh, I remember you from school. I had such a crush on you. This sounds crazy. Why don't we elope?
We're right here now in Albania. I feel like you had a very Family Guy, like, what is it, Lois Griffin?
Lois Griffin. Yeah.
Oh, Peter.
Yeah. That's how Bertha Jorkins was.
Yeah.
Peter. Come on, let's go for a walk in the woods.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Yeah, that's what happens next.
That's what happened.
Anyway, let's see here. So then Ludo's like, how are you getting on with your golden egg? Not bad, said Harry untruthfully. So this is the second time he's lying about where he currently is. Although Bagman does seem to know that he wasn't being totally honest. And he's like, listen, if I can help at all, I've taken a liking to you. The way you got past the dragon, well, just say the word. And so he's basically just like offering to help him through the process here. And it says, Harry stared up into Bagman's round, rosy face and his wide baby blue eyes, which for some reason reminds me so much of like Lockhart here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe just like the blue eyes. I don't know.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't imagine them looking very similar to each other, but
less so. Yeah. I know. But both of them kind of seem like shady, like trying to use Harry for nefarious purposes.
Yeah,
like,
a little bit for sure.
You know,
yeah.
So maybe that's a little bit of it. Like, you know, the fact that these are adults who are stooping so low as to try to take advantage of like a child, basically.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
So let's see. Yeah, he says he basically is trying to offer him help. And it says, I feel very bad about all this. Yeah, you're thrown into tournaments. You didn't volunteer for it. Like, I can't believe he just asks Harry if he wants help and doesn't just like straight up tell him.
Yes.
You know,
it's like, have you tried putting the egg underwater?
Right. It's like, listen, Harry, open the egg underwater. Okay.
Right. Yes. It's like he's way too
willing
willing
to do the bubblehead charm.
Right. He is way too willing to like require for someone who is actively attempting to cheat. He is like willing to wait to get Harry's consent to actually help him.
I know.
It's like, would it be okay if I helped you? And Harry's like, nope.
It's like, that's if you're Bagman's like, not good enough.
It's like my life kind of depends on this. So bubblehead charm.
Right. Exactly.
Bubblehead charm.
I know.
Look up a bubblehead charm.
I know. Yeah, like I'm Bagman. I'm like, I'm not leaving this conversation without like telling him. And it's like, if I could help. It's like assuming he'll say yes. Like give the presumption that you're leaving it up to him. And he's like, no, it's okay. I got to figure it out. And he's like, good. Have you considered a bubblehead charm when you're under the lake getting the hostages back?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Like, oh. What?
What does any of that mean? I don't know what any of those things are.
Yeah.
Well, let me explain. Here's how you do the spell. Here's the book it's in. I've hidden all of them. You won't be able to find them. That's definitely the reason.
Yes, right. I've hidden them so Cedric won't figure it out. Want you to have a good lead, Harry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, have you offered Cedric help? Harry said. He actually does ask him that, not the other bits. The smallest of frowns creased Bagman's smooth face. No, I haven't, he said.
This is what I'm talking about when he's not fast on his feet. And it's like, this you can't lie about?
Exactly.
Clearly, this is like, Bagman, you just made up a lie on the spot that goblins are looking for Barty Crouch, which is just a giant red herring for the reader. It's such a dumb lie. That's not what they're there for. And now it's like it's like what you just said. Bagman seemed to know he wasn't being honest, and it's like he said no, and now he's giving you a way back in. He's like I want to help you. He's like, well, have you helped Cedric? And it's like, if I say yes, can I help you? It's like,
exactly.
Just like, why can't you lie that you helped Cedric? Like,
of course, we all want a Hogwarts victory.
The lines you're drawing in the sand for yourself do not make sense, Bagman.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd offer. Well, thanks, said Harry. But I think I'm near there with the egg. A couple more days should crack it.
Even that, if you're Bagman's like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's like
that line doesn't make sense.
It's not the kind of thing you like. It's like once you've cracked it, you've cracked it.
Like once you got it, you get it.
That's the whole thing.
It's not like you need to keep. It's not like a math problem or something. You know.
Well, how about Harry here in this particular situation? It's like, are we really using puns at a time like this? Like cracking.
I know
the eggs. Oh, Harry.
I know.
What a goofy goofer.
Yep. But he says he even says Harry wasn't entirely sure why he was refusing Bagman's help. I'm kind of like that too. I'm like, yeah. Why don't you just say you need help?
Exactly. It's like, but it does say it's like, Bagman was a stranger to him. Accepting his assistance would somehow feel much more like cheating than asking advice from Ron, Hermione, or Sirius.
And when you say it feels much more like cheating, it just straight up would be.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Yes. I also included or Lupin there at the end.
Yeah.
It's
right.
Like, it's like you could
or Lupin.
You
can always ask Lupin.
Let's not forget about him. He's incredibly smart and knows all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But at this point in time, of course, the other people heavily associated with Ludo are Fred and George, and they turn up.
Yeah.
To which they're like, "Hello, Mr. Bagman," said Fred brightly. "Can we buy you a drink?"
I know. Like, I guess from Harry's point of view, like they're just like chums with him because they won the bet at the World Cup.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. And Bagman's like, No. With a disappointed glance at Harry. No. Thank you, boys. Fred and George looked quite as disappointed as Bagman, who was surveying Harry as though he had let him down badly.
Well, I'm quite disappointed at Bagman. Like, you didn't try very hard.
That's exactly it. Yeah, it's like once again, just like with Ludo, just being like, well, I'm going to help you anyway. You don't really have much of a choice. I'm just going to tell you things you need to know. It's like Fred and George have been trying to get his attention for like literally months now.
Yeah.
It's like, it feels like at this point in time, it's like maybe you also sort of like back him into a corner with the goblins. And
I know.
Like, enemy of my enemy is my friend.
They've already had like the letter where they're like, I'm telling you, if you put that in writing, it's blackmail or
Right,
whatever.
yes.
And it's like, okay, guys, clearly you're at a point here. It's not like you lost a little bit of money. You lost a lot of bit of money. He's right here. And you're like, can we buy you a drink? And he's like, no. And they're like, darn it, we've missed it. And it's like, man, if only it said yes.
Try harder.
I know, exactly. It's just like Ludo needs to be like, oh, good. I can't wait to see what you do beneath the lake, you know?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, he needs the help no matter what. And Fred and George need to be like, can we buy you a drink? No. We're buying you a drink now.
Exactly.
Wrong answer, sir. Wrong answer.
Anyway, at this point in time, he exits the bar. And then the goblins all slide off of their chairs and exit after him, which is certainly super suspicious.
Yeah, he's like, I'll be right back. See ya. Can't believe they even let him leave the conversation.
I'm surprised by that as well.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So then Harry goes back to Ron and Hermione, and he's explaining like that Bagman just offered to help him with the golden egg. And Hermione's like, he shouldn't be doing that, looking very shocked. He's one of the judges. And anyway, you've already worked on it, haven't you? Nearly, said Harry. So many ers.
I know. Well, I don't think Dumbledore would like it if he knew Bagman was trying to persuade you to cheat. Like, well, yeah, duh.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
okay. Yes. Thank you for saying a fact.
And then I hope he's trying to help Cedric as much. He's not. I asked.
Yeah, I asked.
Harry's got it covered.
He's got it covered. I thought about the questions, Hermione. Okay,
Yeah.
Who's in charge here, me or you?
Right. Depends on the day. We can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Who cares if Diggory's getting help, said Ron. Harry privately agreed.
I love Ron over there. It's like none of this has anything to do with any greater plot. He's just like, who cares? We're rooting for Hermione. We're rooting for Harry. Harry's in charge, not you.
Exactly. Oh, man. But then Hermione points out the goblins that look very friendly. What were they doing here? Looking for Crouch, according to Bagman, said Harry. He did get all the answers. At least there's that.
I know. Looking for Crouch. But like, this is a rare opportunity, a rare situation where Harry's instincts are off. Like, he just swallows that lie, no problem.
He does. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Then I like Ron chiming in here because he's basically saying that the goblins were looking for Crouch. And then Ron is like, maybe Percy's poisoning him. Probably thinks that if Crouch snuffs it, he'll be made head of Department of International Magical Cooperation.
Hermione gave Ron a don't joke about things like that look, which, to be fair, that does happen. He does die.
Good point.
Let's see. And then this is, I hate this though. It says Crouch can speak loads of different languages though, said Harry. Maybe they need an interpreter, which is just like, this is the thing that like, helps helps it make sense to you, the reader. It's like, that could be a reason. But it's like, even before that, Hermione is like, she says, funny, goblins looking for Mr. Crouch. They normally deal with the Department for the Regulation and Control of Magical Creatures. And it's like, maybe they don't need to talk to him about government stuff, first of all.
Right.
Yeah, but also
people are more than their jobs.
People are more than their jobs or their species, which is, it's weird coming from Hermione, who's got, it's like, this is a weird assumption for like, the person who founded SPEW, you know?
Right.
That, like they have to deal with him for the Department for the Regulation and the Control of Magical Creatures. Like, yeah. And also Harry's assumption here, Crouch can speak loads of different languages. Maybe they need an interpreter. And it's like, surely, Harry, okay, surely the DFTRACOMC have interpreters for goblins, right? Like, if that's their job, they don't need to be calling Barty Crouch, the head of the Department for International, wizarding relationships, to come interpret for them every time they have a goblin.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Oh, it's Ron chiming in saying, worrying about poor ickle goblins now, are you now? Ron asked Hermione, thinking of starting up SPUG or something, Society for the Protection of Ugly Goblins.
Yeah.
Which SPUG, by the way, just another great piece of trivia there, where it's like, if you asked us that one on stage, like what is the goblin named version of Spew?
Oh, man.
I don't know that I would have it.
Decided for the protection of ugly goblins.
Ugly goblins. I can already picture this happening in real life.
Bug, I know. Someone's going to be like, you asked us.
And it's like, I know we did. And I'm going to bury my face in the whiteboard. And it's it'll be a whole thing.
Haven't you been listening to what Professor Binns has been telling us about goblin rebellions for 4 years?
Yeah, that's exactly what I wrote too.
Yeah.
It's like, it's literally the only thing that he's told you guys about as far as we know.
Like, we have all of this like Harry versus Voldemort history, when apparently the rest of wizard history is just goblins.
It's just goblins.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they're constantly in feud.
Yeah.
But yeah, she lets us know that that goblins are very clever. They're not like house elves who never stick up for themselves. And we will see this to be true with Griphook as we get a lot further into the story and his assistance in breaking into Gringotts.
Yeah. But then Rita Skeeter comes in dressed like a banana in her banana yellow robes and her shocking pink nails, which I guess she was inspired by Parvati's dress.
I wrote the same thing. I was like, what are the odds that 2 chapters in a row we have shocking pink?
I know. Yeah. I was like, I mean, I guess she was at the ball. She could have seen Parvati.
She could have been like, man, I'm taking this whole Hagrid situation, but those nails.
I'm gonna paint my nails the color of that dress. Let's go.
I want that.
Yeah. And then she's got her photographer, Bozo, his actual name. Don't forget that. He's there and they're showing up. Everyone Harry has beef with or suspicions with is just here at the bar conveniently. Yes. Right? Good meeting space, I guess, if you're writing the book. Just like, this is a place where everyone could be that Harry might need to have new information about.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Let everybody just sort of let everybody just sort of like emerge into one spot. But yeah, it says that she was accompanied by her paunchy photographer, to which I was just like, I'm sure everyone loves being described as paunchy.
Yeah. Isn't that the name of the burger in Parks and Rec? The Paunch Burger?
The Paunch Burger.
Yeah.
If you're ever in Roanoke, there's a local establishment called Jack Brown's that also sells a paunch burger, which is quite good.
So. It is good. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
But so clearly Rita Skeeter also ran into Ludo Bagman outside, and he lied to her as well, telling her that he's showing the goblins around town. What nonsense. What nonsense. He was always a bad liar. It's funny to me, like, she could tell he was lying, right away. But now we think because he tells Rita a different lie than what he told Harry, now you think what he told Harry was the truth.
True.
But actually what he did was tell 2 lies.
He told 2 lies. But like it's even interesting because he's even brought up the fact that like Rita Skeeter is sniffing around. So it's like you would even think like, yes, I'm telling you the right thing, but I'm also telling you like don't go mentioning that to anybody because like Rita Skeeter. Then it's like Rita Skeeter's here and it's sort of like, oh yeah, well of course I lied to her. I already told you I didn't want her to know the truth. So
exactly.
It's like, yeah. So
it all adds up very nicely to misdirect you, the reader.
Right.
And then Rita even says like, reckon something's up. Think we should do a bit of digging. And it's like, actually, it's a shame you didn't.
It's true because it's like it seems like when she really puts her mind to it, she can pull out a lot of information from seemingly nowhere, including Friedwulfa, the name of Hagrid's own mother, which he didn't disclose at all.
Yeah.
She was able to find. Then when we see the life and lies of Albus Dumbledore, it's like a lot of what she says ends up being true as far as we know.
Yeah, as far as we know. And then it's like, you know what? Like reporting that the head of the Department of the Magical Games and Sports is like gambling money and is like that is more of a news story than Hagrid's a half giant.
That's exactly right. Yes. Right? It's like more people are going to care about that for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. But I do hate the phrasing of her sentence here. It says like she's talking about like, maybe something's up with Ludo Bagman. And then she's like, okay, disgraced ex-head of magical games and sports, Ludo Bagman. Snappy start to a sentence, Bozo. We just need a story to fit it. And I'm just like, yeah, that's how journalism works.
That's how it works. Yeah. I just want that to be the sentence. So how can I make it true?
How can I make it true? Exactly.
Yeah.
Then she spots Harry and she's like, why don't you come and join? And Harry's like, I wouldn't come near you with a 10-foot broomstick. Harry said furiously, what'd you do that to Hagrid for, eh? And then she's like, our readers have the right to know the truth, Harry. I'm merely doing my, who cares if he's half giant, Harry shouted. There's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah.
To which point, like, this is where you can imagine, like in the TV show, there's like a screech silence and like the whole pub goes completely silent. They're just like looking at these two. And it's like, uh-oh.
Why is Harry Potter yelling at that banana?
I've had too many butterbeers.
This feels like another great pin is that we just have a banana with pink nails.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I can't wait to get that Rita Skeeter banana pin.
Exactly. Although we did talk to Isabel about the hot Hagrid pin, and she was like, "Oh, I'm so into it."
Yeah, she was excited about it. Yeah. So if you guys are interested, continue to let us know.
Continue to let us know because
the outpour of support for hot Hagrid. I mean,
I know.
We've loved it.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So as Harry is absolutely like just losing his handle here because he's just got steam coming out his ears, she pulls out Rita Skeeter, that is, pulls out her quick quotes quill. It says, "How about give me an interview about the Hagrid you know, Harry, the man behind the muscles." See, she thinks he's hot too.
Exactly. Well, she saw him, with his with his sleeves.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
like, whoa,
wow, look at that guy.
Look at that guy with like an 8-pack.
Right. She says, "Would you call him a father substitute?" To which I was just sort of like, kind of father figure. Yeah. Man, she is fast though. She's like, I got it. I have a million slants immediately lined up in my brain. She is ready to go.
Yep.
There's no doubt.
But then Hermione just decides to insert herself into the situation. You horrible woman! You don't think you don't care. Do you want anything for a store? And anyone will do. Even Ludo Bagman. Like, what do you care about? What do you care about Ludo Bagman? Hermione?
As far as we know, Ludo Bagman isn't a good guy.
Yeah, I know. What have you now? You're like on his side,
right?
Yeah, you were literally just complaining about him not being at work, if I recall,
and for cheating, and for not helping Cedric.
Yes, exactly.
You had all the questions.
So even Ludo Bagman. Yes.
Right. Then she's like, "Sit down, you silly little girl."
Which is apparently the very worst sentence she could have said to Hermione.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because Hermione is going to not forget it.
She is not. Yes. Look, that's what she says later on the page. She says, "I'll show her. Silly little girl am I. Oh, I'll get her back for this."
First Harry, then Hagrid. "You don't want to go upsetting Rita Skeeter," said Ron nervously. Yeah. "I'm serious, Hermione. She'll dig something up on you." And it's like, once again, Ron is right.
Ron is right, but also it's complete nonsense on Rita's part. Like, we'll get to that in a sec. She also tells him, like, "I know things about Ludo Bagman that would make your hair curl. Not that it needs it." And it's like, what she knows about him is that he accidentally fed info to the Death Eaters. That's the information that would apparently make Hermione's hair curl.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like we will eventually see exactly what you're talking about, and it's not that nefarious. He's just kind of dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, I don't know what information you think is going to be so crazy.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and vile.
Right.
Yeah, but then Ron is right. You want to go upsetting, said Ron nervously. "I'm serious, Hermione. She'll dig something up on you." But like it is so ridiculous to because Rita does do this, but like her reasoning here is that a 14-year-old girl yelled at her.
Right.
You know?
And she's like, "Well, may as well slander her in the newspaper."
I know. It's like, what?
Right.
What?
It would be like literally if like any mean comment that we received ever, we made an entire video singling out this one person.
Yeah, that's exactly what it would be
like. Whoa, they really used like all of their effort to zero in on that guy.
Oh, that's exactly, yes. That's what would happen. And then what would really happen, the truth of that is that we would just look like the bad guys.
We absolutely, it's the wrong thing to do.
Yes.
All the way. Yes, of course. Way too aggressive of a response. So, but Rita Skeeter is not exactly the most rational person ever, and she's just in it for a story. And apparently the readers in the wizarding populace are just, I don't know. It's like, sometimes it's just like, it's like, guys, maybe as like an entire group of people, we just need to like up our game and be like slightly better people.
Slightly better. I mean, that's the thing. At the end of the day, it's like there is a lot of prejudice in the wizarding world.
There is. Yes, unfortunately. Yeah. It's a very good point.
Yes.
Either which way, I think that this is like sort of the thing that does it. And they're like, Hagrid isn't hiding anymore. Never should have let this excuse for a human being upset him. Come on.
So they're excuse for a human being.
Yeah. Which is also kind of funny because she's not 100% human being.
I know. She's like part beetle.
Part beetle.
Part bug.
Maybe cockroach if we're, being really, really cruel about it. Anyway, so they find their way up to Hagrid's cabin. The curtains were still drawn. They could hear Fang barking inside as they approached. "Hagrid," Hermione shouted, pounding on his front door. "Hagrid, that's enough. We know you're in there. Nobody cares if your mama is a giantess, Hagrid. You can't let that foul Skeeter woman do this to you. Hagrid, get out here. You're just being..." And then the door opens. Yeah. And I'm like, just being what?
Just being what now?
How are we going to end that sentence?
How are we going to end that? Yeah. Just being what? I absolutely love Dumbledore in this next scene.
It's peak Dumbledore.
Dude, he is on fire.
Yes, he is going to absolutely crush it.
Even when he says to Hermione here, he's like, "Good afternoon." He's like, we wanted to see Hagrid. And he's like, "Yes, I surmised as much." Funny enough, Hermione, I figured that out.
I figured it out.
I got there.
Why don't you come in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they enter into the cabin. Fang launched himself upon Harry the moment that he entered. Fang has taken quite the liking to Harry.
I know. I feel like this, if you're remaking the show, needs to be like a running gag, is that every time Harry goes to Hagrid's, the dog just straight tackles him off the screen.
Right. It's just like, well, there goes Harry again.
Yeah.
These are the moments where I feel like, not in general, I don't think that like a cartoon version of Harry Potter is necessarily what we need, but these are the moments where I feel like if it was, you could do that so hilariously and so over the
just
top.
Be like, Fang, no!
Wham! It's like, well, there goes Harry again.
There goes Harry again. Yep.
Hagrid was sitting at his table this time in apparently more than his shirt sleeves like the last time. There were 2 large mugs of tea, to Dumbledore's absolute displeasure.
I know. He was like, "Oh, you gotta have a 2-week bender. Can't spare any of that whiskey for Dumbledore over here."
It's like the horses out there are shivering.
They're
You're in
shivering.
here passed out.
Right.
I have no drink.
Yeah. Foiled again.
He looked a real mess. This is Hagrid, not Dumbledore.
Yeah.
His face was blotchy, his eyes swollen, and he got to the other extreme where his hair, as far as his hair was concerned, far from trying to make it behave, it now looked like a wig of tangled wire.
Yeah, this sounds like a 2-week bender to me, man.
It does. You're
right.
I mean, when you point it out, it's hard to miss.
I know, exactly. More tea, I think, said Dumbledore. Let's see. And then it's he draws out his wand, twiddles it, and a revolving tea tray appeared in midair along with a plate of cakes. Remember that. Dumbledore summoned the cakes.
Yes.
Yeah. Dumbledore magicked the tray onto the table, which is, I feel like, a bit of a crutch word, to say magicked.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Can you just say that? I guess you did, but all
right.
right.
Yeah. You could give us the spell, but whatever.
Yeah.
Did you by any chance hear what Miss Granger was shouting, Hagrid? Hermione went slightly pink, but Dumbledore smiled at her and continued, Hermione, Harry, and Ron still seem to want to know you, judging by the way they were attempting to break down the door.
Of course we still want to know you, which I love this. Harry just like, yeah, Harry, good job.
Right.
Yeah, but you don't think anything that's Skeeter cow. Sorry, Professor, he had to quickly, I think it's funny that he's like has to apologize to Dumbledore for calling Rita Skeeter that Skeeter cow. Like that wasn't even that bad.
It's like,
but Dumbledore, I have temporarily gone deaf and haven't any idea what you said, Harry, twiddling his thumbs, staring at the ceiling.
Right, said Harry sheepishly. I just meant, Hagrid, how could you think that we care what that woman wrote about you? 2 fat tears leaked out of Hagrid's beetle black eyes and fell slowly into his tangled beard. Living proof of what I've been telling you, Hagrid, said Dumbledore.
Deafness is gone.
Yeah, he's back.
He's back.
I have shown you the letters from countless parents who remember you from their own days here, telling me in no uncertain terms that if I sacked you today, they would have something to say about it.
Well, that's encouraging.
It is actually so sweet because it does mean that like so many former students were like, yo, no, we know Hagrid.
What on earth are you talking about?
So here we go. This is actually like one of those things where it's like one way or another, even if the prophet's selling a lot of articles, a lot of people are reading it and being like, this is not good.
Right.
Like, no. We know, we went to school with him. We know him.
Right. Yeah.
So as much as, maybe the population could probably stand to like raise a few pegs, it seems like at least a lot of people got their positions in the right place.
Exactly. And then Hagrid, of course, does the thing that all internet creators do. And he's like, not all of them. Not all of them want me to stay. Not every single comment was positive.
Dude, I literally, the next line says, really, Hagrid, if you're holding out for universal popularity, I'm afraid you will be in this cabin for a very long time. And I literally wrote the phrase, or I wrote the sentence, this line has helped me as a content creator so much.
Yeah.
And it's so true. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's like, I know
sage wisdom.
Yes. It's like, I know obviously if you're listening right now, it's probably because you enjoy the show, hopefully. But there's no doubt that inevitably there's always someone who doesn't. And it's always easy to listen to them be mad and loud about it, which is also why tour is so great, because you get to go and be in a room full of people who are all just like happy and excited to be there. And it's such a good time.
It is so good, which if you didn't know,
Tickets
through
are
the Gryffindor is going on tour in September to the Midwest.
Yes, starting September 16th, I believe.
Yeah.
We have a whole myriad of dates. All the links to that in the descriptions down below. And I will say the Midwest has been like asking for us to come there for a long time. And apparently they meant it because tickets are going very fast.
Very fast. Yeah.
We sold out of VIP tickets in the first like 48 hours. We had to add like more, and those have again started to sell out. So if you want to be there, we hope to see you there. It'll be so much fun. But anyway, now on with the chapter.
Yes. Anyway, Dumbledore is continuing to be on fire. Harry says, Hagrid, look what I've got for relatives. Look at the Dursleys. And Dumbledore says, an excellent point. It wasn't okay to call Rita Skeeter a cow, but it's okay to be like, look at Harry's relatives. I mean, they're the worst.
They're
the
worst.
Yeah.
And then he's like, my own brother Aberforth was prosecuted for practicing inappropriate charms on a goat. To which you're like, what?
What you kind of brought that up out of nowhere.
Let's reel this back
Hold
a
on,
bit.
more information because
Come
that's a
again for
really
Big
confusing line. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was-
Inappropriate charms on a goat. What on earth was he? What was Aberforth doing to the goats?
None of this about Aberforth really makes a whole lot of sense because it says it was all over the papers, but did Aberforth hide? No, he did not. He held his head high and went about his business as usual. Of course, I'm not entirely sure that he can read, so that may not have been bravery.
Man, I feel like Dumbledore is just like having himself a brotherly dig at Aberforth, who is nowhere near the situation.
Yes.
Like to people who don't know him.
Right. And it's like as soon as we learn more about Aberforth, it's like he can definitely read.
Right. Yeah.
Like-
He can definitely read.
Yeah, he's not that eccentric.
Yeah.
Let's see here. But yeah, then we get the please come back. We really miss you. And Dumbledore basically is just like, I refuse to accept your resignation. I expect you back to work on Monday. You will join me for breakfast at 8:30 in the Great Hall. No excuses. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Like, that's it. This conversation's over. You're being dumb. See you on Monday.
To be fair, Dumbledore does maintain this. I feel like sometimes even like with Harry when he gets into like Half-Blood Prince, where they're going to be going through like all of their lessons, and Dumbledore does a great job of like maintaining patience and like being willing to like answer Harry's questions. But like if Harry asks him questions he's already answered, he's like, I've already answered that. If you're not ready to move on, then maybe we need to choose a different day to meet. But like, I'm prepared to teach you other things. We're not revisiting the same problem.
Right.
You know, and so it's like it does seem like Dumbledore has like he's willing to be patient until he's sort of like, we've covered this. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I've told you, let's move on.
He also see Dumbledore like cut through with everything much more than what was it? Than Ludo Bagman was doing earlier, where they're like, you know, he's like being very flimsy about offering Harry help for the golden egg. Where he's like, or like how Fred and George were with Ludo Bagman, where they're like, can we buy you a drink? No? Darn. You
Yeah,
know?
right,
And
right.
It's like, can I offer you help? No? Darn, what do I do now? Hagrid's like, I'm resigning. And Dumbledore's like, you're not resigning. That's ridiculous. I'll see you at work on Monday. He's like, no, I'm resigning. Like, 8:30, Hagrid. Good afternoon.
Good boy, Fang.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, then he stops to give him some scratches on the way out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Then you get one of those classic lines from Hagrid where it's like, great man, Dumbledore. Great man.
Yeah. Ron not listening. Yeah, he is. Can I have one of these cakes, Hagrid?
Help yourself, said Hagrid, wiping his eyes on the back of his hand.
Help yourself. Remember, though, Dumbledore made the cakes, okay?
Yeah,
not
right.
yours to give away, Hagrid, all right?
Probably why Ron wants them.
Probably, I know, yeah. We're not normally accepting cake. He's like, oh my God, I'm going to have good food at Hagrid's for once.
I have no idea, but I realized that in my head, I imagine the cakes as like the Little Debbie zebra cakes.
Oh.
There's not really any description that would lead me to believe that that's what they look like, but I'm imagining like unpackaged and like a stack of like 12 of them making like a little pyramid type thing.
Oh, nice. That sounds pretty lovely.
That's what I picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I've never put like the little zebra cake stripes or like the hexagon shape, but I imagine like kind of like that, but like round.
Oh.
Like very, very tiny birthday cakes.
Little birthday cakes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Like one layer hockey puck size cakes is what I'm imagining.
I can follow that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm in that hockey puck zip code as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Just hexagonal.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hagrid is going to do just the world's biggest 180 from here on out. Help yourself. Oh, he's right, of course. You're all right. I've been stupid. My old dad would have been ashamed of the way I've been behaving. It says like, never shown me a picture of my old dad. So this is where he pulls out the picture from the chapter art, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
Then you get to see young Hagrid, hardly older than 11, which is just adorable. It says, but at least he never saw me expelled. Died in my second year. That's so sad if you're Hagrid, who grew up without a mom, and then you go to school for a year. And that first year must have been so great. But then he goes to school the second year, and his dad dies. And that's terrible. And it says Dumbledore is the one who stuck up for me after Dad went. And I'm like, I don't know if that's like a British phrasing, like he like stood up for you, or when you say stuck up for you, do you mean like he took you in or something? Like where did he live between the second and third year there, right?
It's an interesting, it's an interesting set of phrasing. Let me just make sure I got this right, because it says, died, see, in my second year. Dumbledore was the one who stuck up for me after Dad went, got me the gamekeeper job. Trust people, he does. Gives them second chances.
Right.
But is he saying that like that's what happened after his third year?
I mean, because he said he died during the second year. So then it would be like, I'm trying to picture how he's saying it's like, Dumbledore was the one who stuck up after me after Dad went, got me the gamekeeper job. Like, I'm like, is he saying, or is he just like listing the things that Dumbledore has done for him? Like, he stood up for me after my dad went, he got me the gamekeeper job.
I think
trust people.
That's it. Yeah,
right. So I think there is like a summer between his second and third year, you know, where we don't know what happened to Hagrid there. But like, his first year must have been like the best year of his life. The second, his dad died. The third, he's accused of murder, and then he's expelled for the rest of his life. But at least he gets to live at Hogwarts and be the gamekeeper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. And it is kind of funny too, because it's also like that phrasing of like, gives him second chances. That's what sets him apart from other heads. It's like, if he gave Hagrid a second chance and it's like, just don't mess up again. It also means that Hagrid hasn't messed up, at least not in any like obvious way.
Right.
For 50 plus years. So
exactly.
It's a pretty good repertoire there.
Yep.
He'll accept anyone at Hogwarts as long as they've got the talent.
Very Hufflepuff.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Yep,
Yeah.
Very Hufflepuff.
Yep. But then he gets to talking about Madame Maxime here. He says they just I'm sorry. It goes from one page to the other. There's some who'd always hold it against you. There's some who'd even pretend they just had big bones rather than stand up and say, I am what I am. I'm not ashamed. Never be ashamed, my old dad used to say. There's some who hold it against you, but they're not worth bothering with. And he was right. I've been an idiot. I'm not bothering with her no more. I promise you that. Which it's like he's coming out and saying like, my dad always used to say this, as if he hasn't been like moping around for 2 weeks. You know?
I know. But I mean, I feel like this is him like sort of like coming to like maybe it's like the confidence that he's like, you know, garnering by way of having like his friends sort of back at his side. Like it's like, okay. These people do like me. But this is the part, because it does seem like he gets really stuck on the big bones aspect of it, because he says like, I promise you that big bones, I'll give her big bones.
Wink.
Like, and it almost seems like it's like he started like processing the trauma in real time, and he was talking to them, and then he gets to the end of it, and it's like they don't know, like as far as Hagrid is concerned, they have no idea why he's bringing up big bones or who her is.
Right.
You know, it's sort of like clearly this is what's been like eating at him.
Yeah. Although I don't feel like it's like super hard to like piece together what
Certainly not.
Yeah, who he's talking about or anything.
Right.
And this is where Hagrid says, you know what, Harry? You know what I'd love? I'd love for you to win. And show them all. You don't have to be pure blood to do it. And I'm like, but that's not real. I mean, I guess when he's saying pure blood, what he means is just like magical, like, or have 2 wizard parents or, right?
I guess so. I mean, because like Harry's mom is like you know, Muggle born.
Right.
So Harry by all definitions, at least as far as we have in the series, is just a half blood.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Right? But I guess so. I guess he's relating to Harry in that capacity.
I guess so. Yeah. But it's like his is more like a difference of like species rather than it is like. I mean, I guess unless pureblood wizards really believe like Muggles are like a different species.
I guess that's true.
I mean, well, I don't know. Maybe they do. Maybe that's how they treat them. I don't know. That makes it. It's like I'm like saying it, and I'm like that makes it feel like worse. But then I'm like, no, but they are the worst. So that probably is it.
What they think. Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. Okay, well, in any case, you don't have to be pure blood to do it. Does that mean Cedric is pure blood, do you think?
I was literally just trying to remember if Diggory is on the list of the Sacred 28, but I don't think it is. I don't think it is either.
Yeah, because otherwise Cedric winning would show the same thing.
It definitely would. But
right.
I mean, but you know that Hagrid's got a soft spot for Harry,
Well, obviously, yeah.
And then Hagrid does finally ask, how you doing with that Hag? And Harry says, great, really great. Hagrid's miserable face broke into a wide, watery smile. That's my boy. You show him. Harry, you show him. Beat them all. And it's just like, I highlighted and underlined that. I was just like, oh, shoot.
I know.
It's like, man.
He said, that's my boy.
I know.
Like,
no. And then Harry realizes it. It says, lying to Hagrid wasn't quite like lying to anyone else. Harry went back to the castle later that afternoon with Ron and Hermione, unable to banish the image of the happy expression on Hagrid's whiskery face as he imagined Harry winning the tournament. The incomprehensible egg weighed more heavily than ever on Harry's conscience that evening, and by the time he had gone into bed, he had made up his mind. It was time to shelve his pride and see if Cedric's hint was worth anything.
For Hagrid!
For Hagrid. I know. That's when I highlighted it, and I was like, attaboy.
There you go.
Don't let pride get in the way of things.
Exactly.
Boom, bam. But that does bring us to the end of chapter 24. And Jay, as always, got to ask, you got a review for us?
Well, I sure do, Ben. This comes from Dumbledore's Army J.
Oh.
It says,
is it you?
I don't think, no, it wasn't for me.
Okay.
It says, hey, brother, I love the podcast. I watch it every week. I have a question. Could Winky have been the one more murder that Voldemort and Wormtail were discussing at the beginning of book 4? Maybe her getting fired actually saved her life. I would love to hear your thoughts.
Ooh.
So they're saying like one more person and then our path is clear. Our path to Harry Potter is clear.
That's
or
interesting.
One more murder.
That's interesting. The thing I mean, one more murder. I was gonna say, yeah, if it was one more person, it's like
they wouldn't consider her a person.
I was gonna say, it's like, oh, look how like progressive they're being.
I know.
Referring to herself as a person. That's what you should do, and I feel like the rest of the crew does very well. But interesting. So what we know has happened at this point in time is Barty Crouch Jr. Well, do we know?
They have gotten the information from Bertha Jorkins that Barty Crouch Jr. is being held hostage at his father's house.
Okay.
So it could be that they're talking about Barty Crouch Sr.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I feel like it's Barty Crouch Sr. Maybe that would be the other.
Right. But they obviously have the opportunity to murder him, and they don't.
That's a good point
like
too.
they just keep him under the Imperious Curse because I guess the plan is to just like have him keep going to work because they want the Triwizard Tournament to, go off as planned.
Right.
Without there being like, oh my God, he was murdered. So in that case, I guess it could be Winky. It's like one more murder and our path to Harry Potter is clear. Like we got to get because otherwise like they'll know like, okay, we got to get to the house. We got to subdue Barty Crouch Sr. and then we have to kill the elf because she might go for help or something.
Right.
Yeah.
It's curious. The thing that would give me like a little bit of pause is if we actually go back to Hokey, who is the house elf that works for
Hepzibah Smith.
Hepzibah Smith. She is not. She survives at least long enough to be questioned.
Yeah, that is true because Voldemort frames her for the murder.
Right. Okay. So it would be worse for her to be dead because then that would just lead to more questions. So instead, leaving her alive and making her responsible for the death of Hepzibah Smith by poisoning her hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Is that, yeah. Okay. So I was trying to think if something similar was going to be involved there, where it was almost like a classic situation of Voldemort thinking house elves are so far beneath him, he doesn't see them as like a liability.
Right.
But the other thing is that I also feel like he would see house elves as so dispensable.
Yeah.
That it would just sort of be like, even if Winky is fired, that you would just be like, still, you're the one living creature who knows, like it's not worth the risk. And it's like, no skin off my back to kill a house elf would be the position of Voldemort or the Death Eaters.
Yeah, absolutely. But then like, it's not like they're trying to hunt down Winky or anything afterwards. They're not like, oh yeah, crap, the house elf's not here. Unless they think like because she was fired that she's no longer a liability. We know that he's willing to just sacrifice a house elf to that's what he thinks he did with Creature.
True. Yeah. And then Creature is able to get away.
Yeah.
Because Master called for him.
Yeah. Master called for him. Exactly. So I don't know. It is possible they're talking about Winky and they're like, yeah, we need to, but then it makes it seem like it's such a more important, like even calling it like murder sounds like almost giving house elves like a higher level of status or something.
Right. It's such a level of like almost, it's like the most twisted kind of respect.
Right.
You know, that they would regard it as murder and not something more like horrible, like extermination or something.
Yeah.
Like that,
or like just the one more kill or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it could be Winky to that end where they go to Spring Barty Crouch Jr. They put Barty Crouch Sr. under the Imperious Curse and we're planning to kill Winky. But it's like, does that fit the rest of the sentence? Like, then our path to Harry Potter is clear. It's like, is that all they needed to go straight? Was they get Barty Crouch Jr. back? Right? Like,
I mean, they're speaking in rather significant shorthand because the path to Harry Potter is still so heavily convoluted. Yeah. It's like there's so many things that have to go well. And that's what Barty Crouch Jr. himself says after Under Veritaserum at the end of Goblet of Fire. He's like, you know, it was very difficult to do all these things, to like play both sides of the equation, to lead you through without arousing suspicion and stuff like that. So it's not like a clear path, but it's not beyond the shadow of the doubt for them to phrase it in that capacity. I could see a world where they were planning to show up and just basically like eliminate all risks at once. Like you can't kill Barty Crouch Sr. because that would raise serious alarms because as such a high ranking official. I mean, Bertha Jorkins is not high ranking and still raises attention.
Alarms, yeah.
So that would be much more significant. So I could see them. Yeah. And then the other thing too is that house elves have their own unique brand of magic. So it's like after Winky is sacked, it's possible they just can't find her. But if they could, they would kill her.
Right. Well, and she's at Hogwarts anyway. So,
where they can't get to her.
Where they really can't get to her. So it's like, we can't spend too many resources on this because all we have is Voldemort and Wormtail.
Exactly.
Well, I say you can't get to her. Barty Crouch Jr.'s there.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, he probably could easily do it.
Yeah.
But then again, that's probably like a situation where it's like, how much attention are they even paying to...
Oh, I doubt he knows she's there.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's kind of like the old classic, like, why does Obi-Wan not remember like R2-D2? But it's like, you have to remember that like living in that universe, there's droids everywhere. So probably maybe it's the case that droids are not like as significant per your memory.
Yeah, especially if he's been living for like 20 years by himself in the desert.
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
like
yes.
maybe R2 has like not like locked into his brain. Although then if like you like watch Clone Wars, he's like such a character and stuff. And it's like, yeah, it feels like you should have remembered.
It seems okay.
I was like, Obi-Wan should have remembered R2.
Maybe that one's just a plot hole.
Yeah. Or like Darth Vader should remember. Like Darth Vader should remember R2-D2.
Or C-3PO.
Yeah. Or C-3PO big time. Well, 3PO he leaves when he's like a kid.
That's true. But
right?
He built him.
Yeah, but he built him. But he doesn't have like the armor on and stuff. Does 3PO come with them in the Phantom Menace?
God, I can't remember. Maybe we should do a Star Wars podcast next.
Yeah, right. Now this is podcasting.
Yeah, there we go. Let us know. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of Through the Gryffindor.
Yes, thank you so much as ever. Make sure you join us next week for Chapter 25, The Egg and the Eye, where Harry's gonna take a bath with Moaning Myrtle. It's gonna get wild here on Through the Gryffindor.
Today's episode was edited by Ethan Edghill. Vaishon Brandon does our art. Catherine Stein is our production manager, and the show is hosted by me and Jonathan Carlin.